Okay. So,
hi everyone. We're going to give it just a minute for folks to join. I'm going to get going. I'm KC Becker. I'm the regional administrator for EPA Region 8. Region 8 is Colorado, Utah, Wyoming, Montana, North Dakota, South Dakota, and 28 tribal nations. And Derek is going to start sharing some slides. Basically, we are working hard to get the word out to everyone in Region 8 about the unprecedented funding that's available because of the Inflation Reduction Act. So when Congress passed the Inflation Reduction Act, they included about $3 billion for environmental justice grants. And that's been rolled out in a few different ways. We're going to talk primarily about two main ways that money is available. Can you go to the next slide? Oh, you can go to the next slide. So the first thing that we want to cover are the community change grants. $2 billion is available between now and November 21st for nonprofits to apply for a really wide variety of projects. There are two tracks of funding. One is between 1 and 3 million, and the other is for projects between 10 and $20 million. And you have to be a community-based organization to be able to apply. Local governments can partner with the CBO. Higher ed can partner with the CBO. Tribes can partner with the CBO, or just a CBO, a community-based organization, can apply on their own. So it is a huge amount of funding that's available for nonprofits, again, in partnership with local governments, tribes, or higher ed. That's available, that's open until November 21st. After November 21st, that money won't be available anymore. There's not, subsequent rounds of funding. And the NOFO, the Notice of Funding Opportunity, is available now, and it describes all the parameters of the uses of this money. And one thing that's really excited about this, besides the huge range of projects that can fit under it, and besides the huge amount of money, is that it's open for it'll be open for about a year. So the idea with that is sometimes these windows are really short that grants are available. But the other thing about that window is you can apply, and if you are not awarded, you can resubmit. You can get feedback from EPA about sort of what they saw as some weaknesses in the grant, and then you can reapply. That QR code there is going to take you to the page that will tell you as much as you need to know about it. And we want community-driven projects that address pollution, climate resilience, clean energy, climate justice, just a really wide variety of projects that deal with pollution, climate, environmental justice. Next slide. Here are some examples that are listed in the NOFO, that are listed in the Notice of Funding Opportunity. These examples are not exclusive. You do not have to fit within one of these. We just thought it would be helpful for nonprofits to see some ideas. So it can be green infrastructure, it can be microgrid installation, it can be solid waste, recycling, tree planting, workforce development for people that want to develop skills in asbestos removal, or indoor air monitoring, radon work, you name it. It can be indoor air quality, outdoor air quality, certain types of brownfield projects. Did I say recycling? Like huge types of projects that are available. You can do energy efficiency, you can do transportation type projects. Do you want to go to the next slide? Okay, indoor and outdoor air quality, clean water infrastructure. And, as I already mentioned, recycling, hazardous waste, etc. Next slide. So that was the community change grants. So just to highlight, it's about $2 billion. That's open until November 21st. If you don't get your application in by November 21st, you've missed out. The next one that's really exciting is grant makers. So there are 10 regions at EPA. Each region was awarded a grant maker. The idea here is it's really hard to apply for government grants sometimes. The grants are, the paperwork is exhaustive. There's a lot of compliance you have to do. And a lot of nonprofits are not up for that. And so the grant maker is one grant to an entity who will subgrant that money to smaller nonprofits. For our region, that grant maker is JSI Research. They're a company and nonprofit that's international, that they have an office based in Denver. They were selected to be our grant maker. They got $50 million. They will subgrant that money to people who apply to them. So the paperwork burden is much less than if you were applying directly to EPA for a grant. The amounts are much less as well. But you have to be a nonprofit or community-based organization. And there's, you can see on the slide, it's between $150,000 and $350,000. Also for a wide variety of projects. We at EPA will not be deciding who gets those grants. JSI, the nonprofit who is our grant maker for Region 8, will be the one to award those grants. They do not have their doors open yet. They will be available later this summer to start doing those, to start getting applications. They will set up a process. They will do outreach. But if you have, a smaller project than, a $10 million project, this is a great opportunity for you. Go ahead. I'm going to turn it over to David Dorian to talk about technical assistance.
Sure. Thanks very much, Casey. So part of the launch of the Environmental Justice Program was to include technical assistance to a wide variety of partners. So that includes local governments, community-based organizations, faith-based organizations. And this technical assistance is very, very broad. It helps communities and tribes with the federal grant application system, writing grant proposals, and managing funding. It's not in any way limited to EPA grants. It includes all federal grants and state grants, and it's incumbent upon these technical assistance centers, which we call the TICTACs, to be able to help match the need with the funding, but also help with managing grants and community organization. So the primary technical assistance areas, as you can see on the slide, include coalition and partnership building, engaging key decision makers and local governments, identifying, navigating and applying to grants, effective grants management, and targeted outreach to share leading practices on environmental and energy justice. So to receive TICTAC's support, that includes our tribal partners, tribal organizations, tribal consortiums, enterprises, and corporations. So again, it's open to a large group. And the one caveat is the technical assistance for the community change grant is the different route. Now, were you to reach out to a TICTAC, they refer you. They wouldn't say no to you, but you would end up with the technical assistance that's specific to the community change grant. So let's go to the next slide. So our Region 8 TICTAC in the next few months will be Montana State University, with an extraordinary group of very diverse partners who will be able to provide that support. However, while we're standing that up, with Montana State and Colorado State University is also a major partner, technical assistance is absolutely available right now through two organizations. And one is the International Cities Management Association, which is ICMA. One of their partners is ITEP, so they offer a lot of support. They are actively providing support to Region 8 partners right now. Another one is the National Indian Health Board, which is a national TICTEC, and they offer support that's specific to tribal partners. So the next slide. So now I want to talk about that community change grant specific technical assistance. And because the grant is complex and very large, there was EPA headquarters decided to have a track for a technical assistance that was specific. So it's a different contractor, and they will help with visioning climate justice projects and all the different types of projects that KC talked about earlier. They'll talk about helping to design a project, very much a lot of emphasis on determining eligibility early on in the process and understanding the NOFO to make sure that you don't waste your time, that you're a good candidate, that the project you have in mind is suitable. Assistance in preparing an application, and also facilitating partnerships, because one of the, with the Community Change Grant, one of the partners and the statutory partner needs to be a community-based organization. And then following that, there are post-award support as well in terms of managing the grant. And I want to talk just a little bit about those partnership arrangements, because sometimes it can be a tribe or a local government that would like to lead the project, and that is absolutely suitable through a statutory partnership agreement with a community-based organization. So the community-based organization, in that case, I think gets a little bit into sort of semantics and government speak, but they are the statutory partner, but then the federally recognized tribe or the local government is the project lead. So if my information is there, as well as one of my colleagues, Kaylee Moses, and if you have questions, we can't offer advice on how to write an application, but just how to link you with the best technical assistance. We're glad to help out in any way we can.
Great, thank you, David. Now Kelly Watkins will talk about our grants information page.
Great. Hi, everyone. I'm Kelly Watkins. I'm the Chief of Staff for Region 8 EPA. Derek, can you go to the next slide? So we are maintaining within our region a website about grants with some specific information about grant opportunities that are available, as well as some helpful information, including, how you go. There's a webinar there that we did last year that includes how you can go about, applying for federal grants, what some tips and tricks are, et cetera. And so, okay, great. Sorry, my screen is a little bit lagged. And there's also a grants listserv that you can sign up for there. So on the right-hand part of the screen is a screenshot of the site itself. The highlighted piece there is a link to a list of upcoming Bill and IRA grant opportunities, which I'll show you a screenshot of in just a minute. And as you can see, under the resources piece, there's a PowerPoint from our webinar last year, as well as a video recording of that webinar, and then some information about other EPA webinars and the link to the sign-up list. And essentially, it's intended to be sort of a one-stop shop of, both what are the opportunities that are available, but then how can we connect you with the resources to be able to successfully apply for and manage federal grants. We haven't uploaded this yet, but I do intend to put some information about the technical assistance resources on there. So stay tuned for that information. Derek, next slide, please. All right, and then here is a small screenshot of the grants information table that you link to on the main page. This is where you can find specific information about grant opportunities that are currently available or that have been announced that are upcoming soon. So it includes information about when the opening date was, and when it's going to be closing, who is eligible, and then a Region 8 contact that you can reach out to if you have questions about any particular grant. So don't worry about straining your eyes on this one. You can click on that, you can go to that link there, or you can use the QR code to go to our website. I will also be including it in the follow-up materials that we'll send out so that you'll have easy access to it. But we try to keep that table updated on about a monthly basis. Next slide, Derek.
Great. Okay. Thank you, Kelly. So now we're going to turn to questions. There may be questions in the chat, but one thing I want to highlight is that both the community change grants require a local government or a tribe to partner with a nonprofit organization. And so if you have the interest in working, on something and you want a partnership, you are welcome to solicit a local government or a tribal entity to say, I'd like to partner with you. I think also some of our tribes are interested in looking for nonprofits on various projects. We can't facilitate that meet and greet, but there's the TIC-TAC will be able to help connect you with folks, but we can't. But please know there's a lot of interest from local governments and tribes in finding the right nonprofit to work with them on a project. But with that, let's turn it over. If there are any questions, if you wouldn't mind raising your hand, and then Kelly will call on you.
So we do have one in the Q&A from Pamela. The question is, do you know who's handling this for Minnesota? Based on the timestamp there, I think this is about the Grant Makers program. I don't know off the top of my head who the grant maker is for that region, but I can provide a link that includes all of the different grant makers for each of the regions. So if that wasn't the program you're interested in, please let me know, but otherwise I will provide that link in the chat.
Any questions, feedback, comments, etc. from anyone? All right, then we will leave you guys to it. We hope to see some robust participation from Region 8 entities in these opportunities. Again, this money won't, this is not an ongoing funding source. It really is one and done. So if you have projects, this is the time to apply. I did say, I do see a question. Did you say the partnership is with a local government entity and or tribe? What it is if a local government or a tribe want to apply, they have to partner with an NGO. An NGO does not have to partner with a local government or a tribe. An NGO, a nonprofit, a community-based organization can apply, put a project together all on their own. But local governments and tribes have to work with community-based organizations on these grants.
And Casey, just one thing for everyone, which is it actually must be a partnership of at least 2 CBOs.
Oh,
so
okay.
It can't be a sole CBO, but it can be multiple, but it also can be sort of a more of a coalition approach, which is it can be a few CBOs and it can be a local government or a tribe all coming together. But invariably, as with all of our federal grants, there will be a statutory partner and a lead partner. In this case, the statutory partner must be a CBO. There will be one, and that lead partner, though, could be any of the ones that I've mentioned.
I see another question. So does climate justice grants include climate change adaptation for BIPOC farming communities like our Asikwa? I think so. I can't say yes or no. It sounds like the type of project that would qualify for me. David, is there a place where?
Yes, sure. So I've put
Okay.
in the chat the link to the Community Change Grant Technical Assistance, and that's very much their responsibility to help you identify eligibility questions. Also, there's an FAQ, which will circulate as well, which helps address some of those questions. And lastly, there is a little bit of a wait right now to get into the Community Change Grant Technical Assistance because they're overwhelmed. And so for just a question about eligibility, I'd recommend reaching out to ICMA as well. They might be able to help you with that quickly.
And ICMA is the International City and County Managers Association. They are a national TIC-TAC. They have an intake form on their website. And so that means there's a web link where you can write your question in and they will get back to you with an answer. And I wonder if it's possible, David or Derek, for someone to find that link and add it to the chat.
It's done. Yes.
Terrific. You're so fast. I see a question. Do we know when the first group of CCG awardees will be announced?
I can answer that. The short answer is no, not exactly. We would anticipate that to be in the next month or so. There was the first trench. They came in and they're currently being reviewed. However, reviews are being conducted at EPA headquarters, not at the regional level, just with regional support. So we don't have great insight into that, but it is a rolling process. So you can apply at any time, and they will review it as soon as they possibly can, and then offer feedback if you don't get it. Hopefully you will on your first try.
I will say, that because it's on a rolling basis, and there are just a lot fewer applications coming in right now, it's probably a smart idea to get something in early, because that way, if you have a project you don't get awarded, you can get feedback, you can revise it and resubmit it. And we expect a big load of applications coming in at the end. So I just think it's probably a good idea, if you can, to get it in earlier.
I don't see any more
Anything
questions
else?
at this point.
Okay. Thanks everyone for joining us. And did we have, David, did you put your contact information or someone on your team's contact information in case folks want to do any follow-up?
I absolutely will. And also it is in the slides, but we're going to add it in the chat as well.
Terrific. Thanks everyone for joining us today. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I just rebumped. I had sent this at the beginning of the webinar. We did one for local governments and got a lot of requests for people to be added to the distribution list, as they had gotten the invite sort of secondarily, not directly from us. So if you didn't get this invite directly from our Region 8 EPA, please feel free to send me an email, and I will send you a copy of the slides and recording once that's posted up. It usually takes a couple of days.
Terrific. Thanks everyone for joining us, and please help spread the word about these opportunities. Bye.
Thank you. Nice seeing you again.